Hello, everyone. Hello, Jaime. Luis Castillo here. First, I want to apologize. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks and a half ago, I published on my social media something on your continuity. The source wasn't right, and I am responsible for my post. So I want to offer a public apologize if you were upset by that post before the match against Brazil. But Jimmy, given the current circumstances, to the end published an article and about your potential dismissal from the national team. How do you live this time in the run-up to the match against Ecuador? Thank you, Luis. Thank you for owning up to it. Few people do that, and I appreciate it. How am I dealing with it? Well, I am focused on what we do, on how we're working, and I am thinking about the lineup for the next match. That is my job, and I was hired to do precisely that. It is a process in which we have players that had to be empowered for this Copa America. We had to level the map, and I think that is what I'm doing. We're playing against opponents of a relevant hierarchy, and well, what's happening could probably destabilize people around, the players that are younger, maybe some other people, but I have learned in my life how to embrace news. I'm very open and I can take any criticizing if it has the right intentions behind. And I understand that it's important for the national team to have the players with the right mindset at ease so that they can perform in the best possible way. Jaime, Johan, hello. Jaime, Cristian El Chaco Jimenez some days ago announced publicly that you were putting Santiago in the lineup because you were forced to do that rather than because you chose him. What's your take on that? And Johan, about Jaime's continuity in his position, how does press coverage affect the players? Because this comes up before a very important match. How destabilizing is that on the pitch? I think Jaime mentioned something very important. When you're young or you lack experience as a player, you can be affected by the buzz around and rumors. But as Jaime said, we have to be open, but we cannot pay much attention to what's going on around us externally. We have daily challenges in our clubs, but people focus on the results every 7 days, and that happens in our clubs, and we have that experience already. We cannot be in a constant uncertainty. In Europe, that happened to me. Like, I was thinking all the time, what would happen if we lose? What's going on? But that doesn't make you happy, and that doesn't allow you to live every day calmly. Can you repeat the question? What did Chaco say? Well, that is mandatory for you to put Santiago. That is an obligation. Well, we want the best for our team, and I've been in the position of players, and I understood what everyone around me wanted. My father, my wife, my everyone that is in my family. But I fully trust Johan, Santi, Memo. They are part of the roster, and I called them up. So, of course, I trust them. And it is something that many a time it's not, it is misunderstood. for the coach, the best thing is for the team to perform well, not one or two players individually. So I understand what's going on, and we want the best for the team that we have created. To the Jaime, since the run up to the Copa America started, many were talking about the renovation, having new names, and part of the price to pay could possibly be not the best performance in Copa America. But now that you are about to take on a must win match, do you think that the potential defeat or being out of the knockouts is the price to pay to renovate the national team towards a World Cup? Well, I am calm about this. We turned around the performance in our first match. That wasn't what we expected. And we are thinking about tomorrow. Before we got here and before all the previous results, we thought that we were going to fight for the first position in our group with Ecuador. But okay, if we have to wait for this last match to be a must win, it's okay. We're going to take it as a final. The circumstances before weren't the expected ones, but I really trust the condition of the team, the performance of the team. They are very strong on the inside, and it's apparent from the results or the performance that we saw in the matches, regardless of the results. And in this case, well, the goal that we conceded was out of a penalty kick. It was luck. But I think that the two teams have a lot at stake right now, so it's going to be a very interesting match. Enrique Multimedios, Jimmy. Luis Castillo was just mentioning this. There's a lot of criticism against you because you always maintain the 4-3-3 for a game plan, the tactical game plan. Football-wise, tomorrow, in order to move on to the next round, it is going to be a battle that you're waging. Will we see anything different in the system? Well, I have not even defended. I have explained the 4-3-3 as a game plan. That is the starting formation for Copa America. In Gold Cup, we never use the 4-3-3. We use it as a starting, and then it changes throughout the match. Sometimes it's never a 4-3-3 constantly throughout the match. We, of course, try different options and alternatives, and we try to implement them based on the opponent. We are not tied to one particular formation. And if that was the case, I still think that we played two very good matches and we have reached the opponent's box, the goal. It's not like we were hammered, and we are improving. And I think that saying that we haven't won because of the formation, I don't buy it. We are very focused on improving the performance of the team every day. Canal de Fútbol Ecuador. Coach, what traits of the Ecuador's football have you identified in your analysis? Maybe particular individual talent that we need to counter? And Johan, one question for you. Tomorrow, the stadium will probably be painted of green, white, and red. It's going to be Mexican, a Mexican crowd mostly. Will that be a negative pressure for you? Well, pressure is always there, and it will be there, of course, because we want to win. We want to provide a victory to our people. Instead of answering that question, I would like to seize this moment to ask from our people for their support. The crest, the country, this jersey are constants. We might come and go, the coaching staff as well, but we're going to give it our all on the pitch. We know that sometimes there are externalities in football that could affect you, but we will be giving our best for us, for our families, for every sacrifice that we've done, and for the people as well. Well, and Ecuador, of course, it's a strong and young team in every line, in every position. Most of its players, well, of course, Sarmiento can play always along the touch line, and he has a great tournament. Baez, very young, Yeboah, mentioned before, but all of them, Caicedo, world class. He's the heart and soul of that team. He is a great leader, even though he's young. But if I go man by man, there are many that have played in our league and we know them well. But they are a very complete team. They know what they are playing and they are savvy. And it also depends on Felix as the head coach that has experience in World Cups, and he has a very clear idea of the game. And for what I've seen and what we've analyzed, he also has adapted, as it happens in every national team, given the absences of some players, and he had to modify the system that he used in the qualifiers. But it is a team that had bad luck against Venezuela, or an accidental situation, and they paid with the points, but and now we have to play a match against them. And David Medrano, Azteca, Johan, for what we see, it seems as tomorrow the Jaime Lozano's project's continuity is at stake. Do you see that, Jaime? Well, that is not something I have a say about, and as a coach, you know that you depend on the results at large, and we'll give the floor now to Willow to see what he's going to say. But David, I am not the decision maker in that sense. We all know that. So I am at ease with that situation. It's not up to me, and what is up to me is to perform, to ensure a great performance of the players, and then we'll see. Of course, this is a process. We talked about empowering the players, putting them in situations where there haven't been before. I don't know how many have played as such a top-notch tournament or a tournament of this league before. So it's very important to me in the process, but also for the Mexican football. Jaime, Johan.
Lo que está pasando fuera, ¿no? El tema de que si se va Jimmy, que si Johan, que si tal jugador.
Jimmy, the talk about Jimmy's potential contract or continuity ending, but those are all externalities, right? But Johan, a question to you: are you all together and close in the locker room to the inside of the team? And Jaime, can you help us understand this process a bit more? Well, yes, we are very united. We are aware of it all. But the fact that we are very close as a team doesn't mean that we don't see our mistakes. But of course, we make mistakes because we are young players, and when we identify them, we try to correct them rapidly, and we are very grounded, and we know we have to keep growing. And that unity, well, we are very responsible, and that has a lot to do with it. We don't let it go to our heads by playing in the national team. So all of us, the youngest to the oldest, are really close and have that idea in mind. Well, we have been suffering some hard hits since the absence of Malagón when we were creating the group, but the group assimilated that very well, and that makes you mature fastly, and there's a great ambient and climate in the team. It's very important for matches like this one. But they have to play and enjoy this. The results are consequences of what you do or what you don't do in those 90 minutes. So they have to pay attention to that rather than the externalities. Yes, we couldn't hear the microphone. We apologize from the interpretation booth. Juan Morales, Claro Sports. Jaime, what does the group transmit to you after the roller coaster of emotions and the match with against Jamaica and against Venezuela? Do you agree that this is one of the most important matches in this process? And Johan, do you think that this is a great stage to showcase as a team the support to Jaime Lozano? When I was on my way, I was thinking about that. Each match demands responsibility and being humble as players. We want to be a great national team, and we're here for that purpose. I think we all feel very confident and that we are in great condition, and tomorrow is going to be a very nice match for Ecuador and for us and for the fans. What do I feel? Well, I feel their support. I feel for what you see on the pitch and at the hotel, I do feel that the players believe in our idea and our game plan. So I'm fine, and I see their trust in me. I acknowledge it, and as I told David, we're going to go after our qualification to the knockouts. Jaime, good afternoon. You just talked about the flexibility from the 4-3-3 to 4-2-3-1, building up from the defense onwards. Are you thinking about playing with two center forwards tomorrow? And Johan, we have talked a lot about the continuity of this project and this coaching staff. What is at stake for the players tomorrow? What is at stake for us? Well, I think many things. Many a time, Jaime is under scrutiny, but we are the ones that are playing, the ones that fail, the ones that make mistakes ultimately, and the ones that also win the match. But there has to be some self-criticism, and it is a process, I agree, but we need to acknowledge that, well, of course, setting aside Copa America right now, it is a World Cup, and 2 years go by very fast. But as Jaime mentioned, we have to be more mature, self-critical, and understanding when we fail, being humble, acknowledging everything that we can acknowledge so that we can continue growing. Of course, Ecuador is a very strong team in the midfield. We know we have to win. It is the only result that will help us. It depends on us. So we will go after that tomorrow. It is 90 minutes. We have to keep a mindset to win, but it is not guaranteed as a result. So it's going to be very important being intelligent, and in particular, it is of utmost relevance to have the best players and the most fit players for that purpose available tomorrow. Radio Lu, Ecuador, Marcos. Coach, I wanted to ask about the pressure that Mexico has because it only lost one official match against Ecuador, because it has 4 victories and 1 defeat. The starting 11 now are not playing in the Mexican League. Before, you used to have 4 or 5 or even 6 players in the Mexican League. Is that related? And Arizona's fans, Johan, are predominantly Mexican, and they will be feeling that support. Is that an element that will impact the result? You need to know how to play under that pressure. A colleague once told me a couple of years ago that it was a privilege to be under this type of pressure because not many feel it. And that was kind of set in stone for me. It was embedded in my memory. Sometimes it can empower you, and I do believe in the fans. I think that the fans will be there for us. We'll have that connection, and it is a mind game a little bit, but Ecuador and us will be giving it all. I think that for them a draw could be useful, but to us it will be a final and we need to win. So we're going to play under that pressure. You said 4 players or some players. Well, football changes. Football is more and more even, and we can watch the Euro Cup and Copa America. Every team has opportunities to be a title holder, and yes, historically Mexico has won these matches against Ecuador, but that doesn't ensure anything. We have to think that we will play against the best Ecuador in history, and also that would have happened in the case of Jamaica and Venezuela. We might have a good night or a bad night, a good match or a bad match, but we have to keep the standards of the training, the daily training sessions, and I think there will be very few bad nights, if you may call them such. But I do think that if we do things well, we'll deserve it more and we'll be able to achieve a win. Johan, what happened with the penalty kick? Why didn't you take it and Evelyn did it? And for you, Jimmy, there were some statements by Emilio Azcarraga, the owner of or president of America. He didn't like how the Henry topic was addressed. And do you have any statement on that? Well, I think that people thought that I told Johan to take the kick. But no, if someone said that, they made a terrible mistake, because if there's a penalty shootout, I know that he always wants to go for it. But yeah, there was a lot of buzz created, something that wasn't even there, that it's usually the case now. And well, I think that it would have been better to have a call about this topic. We have a good relation with Henry. We talked about it, and as I also talked to 4 or 5 other teammates, for bad news, there's never the right time. So I think that any time is as good as it gets, but it wasn't what he was expecting at that moment, and it wasn't the most ideal situation. But also we didn't want to have that before the match, but well, uh, I do think that there is no right time to share the bad news. So it is what it is. Yes, I will continue thinking about it, but this is how I managed it, and Henry was thankful for that. Yeah.
Jaime, buenas tardes, Johan.
Good afternoon, Jaime,
Ramiro Razo,
Johan.
periodista ecuatoriano.
Ramiro
Saluda desde
Razo,
Castellón.
Ecuadorian
Jaime.
journalist.
Después de ese maravilloso 3-1 en Maracaibo,
After
2007,
the 3-1 in Maracaibo in 2007 with an unforgettable generation, after Brazil and Argentina fought for the bronze medal as Hugo Sanchez, head coach in Venezuela 2007, coach, I see that Mexico is playing 30 minutes, then Ecuador 20.
¿Dónde va a estar cuando México va a salir el tri
as to
tratar de lograr una victoria?
ball possession? Where will the where will we find the breaking point or the disruptive moment where we'll see a favorable result for the Azteca team? Johan, playing with Rodriguez as a forward in the Ecuadorian team. Tomorrow you'll be facing Ener Valencia. What is your take on the Ecuadorian team?
Si alguien me ha hecho crecer son los delanteros. Siempre hay que tener esa humildad.
Most of my growth has been triggered by forwards. You have to study them, analyze them. I've studied Ener, and he played in the Mexican League, so we know him a little bit better. And we have to be aware of their weaknesses and their strengths. And some players you cannot concede even a meter. Some require marking in the box. I will do my best to stop them, and it is something to be tackled as a team. We all have to perform to our best and help each other, and tomorrow is one of the greatest challenges to me because I want to contribute to my team, and we want to really take each play with intelligence. First, thank you because you gave us 30 minutes, and that is 10 more than Ecuador. That was a very quick analysis. Ecuador isn't an easy opponent. It's not easy at all. It's not easy to be superior than an opponent. And I think that at the time where we can lead or that we have opportunities to score, we have to do it. We have to finish those opportunities and find the net. Well, Doylio always talks about this, the boxes. It's about seizing the chances in the boxes, to be decisive in those boxes. So I think that will take us to the next round. We apologize, we couldn't hear the question. Well, we are a home team and we've played many matches in this manner. We'll have the fans there tomorrow, and pressure, yes. I agree with Johan. It's a blessing. We are in the best place where a football player in Mexico or a head coach in Mexico could be. Jaime, Johan, same question for both of you. I am quoting you now when you said no one is leaving or jumping off this ship. We have Alvarez, maybe Cesar Montes that had an injury, but I think that all the players are here to also show that they can do it together, and that adversity is the best thing that could happen to move forward. What is your take on it? Well, I think it's a great question, but I think you also answered it yourself. Yes, adversity is the best thing that could happen to a human being, and I agree with you in that we are all on the same ship. We are very aware of what is at stake tomorrow, but I am a very faith oriented person. I have a lot of faith, and many opportunities eluded me as a child, and I had to keep working for it and adding minutes, and I always kept the faith that it was depending on my performance and on how I worked for it. True, I think adversity makes you stronger. We've had a lot of opportunities to grow this summer. So we're holding firmly and we're trying to take the most advantage of all these challenges we found on the way in this Copa America summer. Thank you very much. This is the end of the conference. Good afternoon, everyone.